Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Noscast podcast. We're going to keep going with that because I just don't have a better name. It's me, Test Tube Gamer, joined with...
Burgundy, once more.
Once again. Alright, so I have not been playing Nosgoth a whole lot because you almost can't.
Yeah.
I have been working very hard on a new video, and we'll get into that later, but first I wanted to talk about Final Fantasy 15 and the release on September 30th. Do you have any background with that game?
I do not have much background with Final Fantasy. I mean, I watched it if it pops up in one of my subscriptions on YouTube, play Final Fantasy in some regard. I'll check it out. But I've never played it, and I've never been too invested in it, to be honest.
Do you do any RPG, like Witcher or any of those?
I love RPGs. I just never really got into Final
JRPG?
Fantasy. Yeah, I guess that's the best way. It's a little too, yes, not the style that appeals to me, I guess.
Yeah. I fell in love with those on the PlayStation 1, just way back when. And then earlier than that was on the Super Nintendo. They had Final Fantasy, 6, I think it was? But
Yeah.
my first was 7, which is... They're remaking
Yeah,
that
that's
for the
the
PS4.
pinnacle.
Oh, yeah. What a great game. I
Even I am aware of that one.
played it so much. I love that one. But yeah, Final Fantasy 15 on the horizon. They went ahead and did this really big press release and all this stuff because the release date got leaked on a game site. I forget what it was. I want to say Game Informer, but I honestly that might not be right. Anyway,
Feels like everything gets leaked these days when it comes to gaming.
it's a problem. I know
Yeah,
people are
feels like
excited and want to break the news first, but that sucks because I
feels
think
almost like a marketing scam, or not even a scam, but like every bit of information about every game is leaked info, guys. You see a post on Reddit, and it's like, or maybe they just send it out there.
you know what's interesting? It has to do with that viral marketing. Like, you can
Oh
put
yeah,
a huge budget, $100 million or something crazy like that, and people are so tired of being advertised to, they don't respond that well. So it doesn't really matter how much money you put into it. They're sick of seeing ads. However, when a story gets leaked, and they feel like they're on the inside, trying to get
yeah.
that
That's what
information early.
sort of my point. Like, if people are allowed to have this whole to create the hype themselves and say, "Hey guys, this new information is leaked. Check it out," and send it to their friends or just post it on
Hmm.
Reddit. That's genius. Now that
Yeah,
you put it into a sentence, that's fucking genius.
those imaginary karma points are just
Yeah.
people seek those above all else. It's hilarious, but yeah,
Yeah.
it kind of works in their stead. Like, it does all the heavy lifting without it paying any money. So I don't know. I think it's interesting, but it's also cool in the same sense that it spreads excitement so much better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So really excited about that. I will say real quick, since you don't seem to care too much about Final Fantasy, they announced an anime that they will be releasing episodes for free on YouTube and stuff like that. I'm sure if you type in Final Fantasy
Sure.
15 anime, it'll bring it up.
Yeah.
But new episodes, I think every other week or month or something. And then they've released a movie. Well, they haven't released it yet, but they have, trailers and all this stuff, which will be right before, I do believe it'll release right before the Final Fantasy 15 game, which is on September the 30th. But the movie will release, what is that called? Siege Breaker or something like that? I can't remember.
I have no idea.
Again, I'm sure if you Google this stuff, it'll bring it up pretty easily.
Yeah, I'll check it out later.
So, alright, that's it for Final Fantasy,
Is
I
it a
guess.
live action movie?
No, CGI. They're
Oh,
notorious.
that's pretty cool still.
Yeah, Sony Studios. Are you familiar with any of those movies? They've done a couple. They had
Oh,
a
that's
Final
why it
Fantasy
feels
7 movie. Oh, go ahead.
it feels like something I should have noticed, but I've never heard anything about it.
Yeah. I was drug in as a little kid. Like, I loved Final Fantasy so much. Every time they release something, I at least follow it up. But the last couple games have been really bad.
Yeah,
Final
I've
Fantasy
heard as much.
13? Are you familiar?
Yeah, the thing, Final Fantasy for me has always been, I've seen when they still did TV commercials, and I still watch TV. I saw these anime-looking games, and they were jumping around and, yeah, looking very flashy and cool. And I was like, 13? How the fuck can there be 13 games? Or maybe it was 12 or 11 or whatever back then, but it's like, what the fuck? What have I missed?
So from what I understand, limited knowledge, I don't know how true any of this is. The original developer or lead creator for the games, he wanted each one of those to be the Final Fantasy. That wasn't like a joke. And they were like, these are amazing. We love this, and people are buying them. So they brought him back, like 8 times or whatever, like a lot of times. And so now it's just like, I mean, it's just a franchise of its own. People know Final Fantasy.
Absolutely. That's hilarious.
Yeah. But I don't know how the specifics. I do recall that was how it went down, though. He made great games, and they wanted more of them.
Yeah, they're definitely pack a punch.
Well, real quick, we got to get off Final Fantasy, but 13 was terrible. It had this character Lightning, and it had the worst level design of any game I've ever played. Like, imagine long, boring hallways that are not hallways, but that's what it is. Like, imagine a giant field,
Fable
and you can
3-ish.
only walk one direction. It was awful.
Yeah. Have you played Fable 2 or 3?
Yeah.
I feel like those suffered from the same kind of deal. It's like, holy shit, this is such a vivid, beautiful landscape, but I can only walk down this path.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And you know what else? That guy, Peter Molyneux, he was, I think, the creative director of that game. He promised the world in those games. He promised everything.
Yeah, and they were very... I liked them, but they weren't impressive by any means. The first one was.
They're good, but they didn't deliver half of those promises. He was saying, like, if you get cut as a child, you will see that scar as an adult. And, all this wonderful world building, but it didn't follow through at all.
No, not at all. The only thing that impressed me in that series was the first one, because holy shit, this is really old, but it's really awesome.
Oh, so good. That was excellent.
And the other two, it was like, I mean, it's a game.
2,
but,
I have more experience with 2 than 3. I remember 3 just had that stupid ass dressing room.
Oh, God.
What the hell was that? That was awful.
I don't know, it's like, for someone who is almost desperate for immersion in any game that I play, well, if it's a single player, especially an RPG, having the ability to teleport into my own little cozy penthouse whenever I feel like it, that is the best superpower anyone could ever have. And they just throw it in there like, oh, you want to change your shoes?
Yeah, it was
teleport
so silly.
into your
it was
magic chamber of solitude.
God.
With your own butler. Yeah, it was such a stupid decision.
It was a user interface design choice. Like,
it
was nothing to do with
They were
immersion.
marketing it like, no more in-your-face menus to select from. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. And it's like,
an in-your-face
in-your-face, chamber of solitude where you have to walk to every individual part of the menu.
Have you ever played Warframe?
No, that looks really cool, but I've never played it.
Warframe's really cool, and it has that walk around your ship, but not in the middle of a level or something. That's your hub. Your ship is your hub, and you get to choose missions and how your Warframe.
I mean, that's the cool and correct way to approach it. I feel like
cool. Oh, I love it. It's so cool.
If you could teleport from intergalactically teleport back to your little hub world, that's where it gets stupid, and they just
on the brink of a whim.
That was their selling point.
And then you just go right back into combat or whatever. That was dumb. Yeah, I didn't get into... I quit Fable after the first one, and then I played 2, just because. And 3 I might have turned on at one point, but I never really gave it a shot.
I actually started with the second one, and I thought it was cool, because I had very limited experience with good games at all. At that point, it was pretty much Call of Duty back in those days.
Oh, yeah.
And then... and then I checked out the first one. It was like, holy shit! And I have so many expectations for the third one, and it was just, here's number 2 with no menu selection and worse plot and just a lot of weird decisions.
Yeah, there were story-driven games, and to have the same story 3 times was a bit much, in my opinion.
Yeah, they could have done so much more with it.
Mm-hmm. And they had the money, because I remember those being pretty good selling games, so I don't know why they skimped out.
Yeah, they fucked up.
Yeah, that's just game design 101 nowadays. You just run an IP into the...
Fuck up royally.
Make money, just run it into the ground.
Yeah.
Speaking of franchises going crazy, have you played or heard of Salt and Sanctuary and Dark Souls 3?
I've heard of Dark Souls, because, obviously... and watched quite a bit of it, but I haven't heard of the Sanctuary cheesecake thing.
Yeah, that is cheesecake. That is a indie game on PS4. It's on a bit of exclusivity deal right now, which I think that's dumb, by the way. I don't know
Yeah,
why
those
they
are
keep pushing exclusivity deals, but I don't know if you're
they're
familiar
dumb
with
to
Tomb
begin
Raider.
with, and they never stay exclusive, so I don't know.
No, it's so silly. And why would you want to limit your product? I don't get it.
Yeah, it's a strange choice.
Tomb Raider did that. I think they have like a 1 year exclusivity deal with Xbox One, Xbox One.
Why?
It's like, why would you limit yourself? I think it's on
Yeah.
PC as of right now, but
I don't think anyone would purchase a whole console to play Tomb Raider.
yeah,
It's a
right.
weird decision to me.
Well, like you got the big ones like Halo.
Yeah,
What
well,
is
it's still stupid, but Halo has always been
well that
the
is
Xbox.
an Xbox
That was the
thing.
reason that I bought an Xbox back in the day.
Oh,
So yeah,
everybody. Yeah, I'm sure that's the same song and dance for everybody because it was
yeah,
such a mind-blowing experience way back when.
yeah, it was pretty fucking awesome. I sucked at it like most shooters, but it was cool,
I
nonetheless.
I used to think I was good, and then I joined one of those little mini tournaments, and the people that really knew what they were doing,
Oh,
oh man,
you got that far.
they were disgusting. But you learn. It was so fascinating that transition between just like LAN. We used to carry our TVs to our friend's house and our Xboxes, and
Oh
we
yeah,
would do
definitely.
four-way link system and stuff like that, and all those giant boob tube TVs. That
Yeah,
was the day. But we went from that to online was just the biggest transition ever. Being able
yeah,
to play all hours of the day, and infinite number of matches against people far better and worse than you. It was really, really
yeah. It
game
was awesome,
changing. Yeah. Well, yeah.
game changing and awesome.
All right. Well, let's see. Dark Souls 3. Have you played any of those? You said you heard of
I
them.
actually, this was back when I didn't have a job, so I illegally downloaded Dark Souls 2.
Oh.
Don't tell anyone. And I thought the game was broken. I thought it was a broken download. I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to play this?
So
Because,
difficult.
yeah, I thought, oh, this looks sort of like Skyrim on rails. That'll be nice, because that was my about as wide of a view as I had of good games. Oh, it looks like Skyrim. I'm gonna play this. And yeah, I got my ass handed to me by the game a couple of times, and then I just dropped it entirely.
Yeah, it's
And
so
then I realized
difficult.
what it was, and it's like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Um,
So,
my first entry to the series was, well, I played Dark Souls
mm.
way back when, but I didn't quite understand what I was doing, and I didn't give it enough time. But there was an off-kilter edition, which was Bloodborne. Have you even heard of that one?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
Dark Souls
love.
3, but in the industrial age.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I love the atmosphere. That's the pretty much like the same thing for each entry. Like the atmosphere. There's not a whole lot of story, but whenever you can find it, it's good.
No, there is story, but you have to be like very dedicated and almost, yeah, insanely dedicated to figure it out.
Yeah, super difficult to get into, and that's the same for all of them. I feel like they're the difficulty in these games are not to be trifled with, and if you are willing to die hundreds of times, you can, get that satisfaction of killing those epic bosses. But it's difficult.
Oh yeah.
Same can be said with Salt and Sanctuary. That's the 2D indie version of Dark Souls, and it's available on
Oh.
PS4. Really
Did they
good.
get permission to do it
I
from the
don't
studio,
know.
or is it?
I don't know if
Okay.
there's. I don't know if it's close enough to the source material to be like a legal issue or what, but it's
Okay.
beyond obvious what
Fair
they're going
use.
for. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's 2D, so I mean there's that right out of the gate, but it has the same energy system and dodge mechanics and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's very similar,
Huh,
but
that's
it's
pretty
good.
cool still.
I like it so far. I'm only about like 4 hours in, but it's pretty fun.
Nice.
All
Excuse
right.
me, I had to burp there.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Star Wars came out today. I bought that shit immediately. I love it so much.
Yeah, I
There's a.
can.
Oh, go ahead.
Now you go. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, there's a lot of discourse about Episode 7.
Oh,
You
that.
get opinions, and everyone has them, but like you get opinions that almost don't make sense. Like there's anger that the series is too reminiscent of the first one, and it's like I don't know. I
That's
think
what everyone has been nagging for all these years since the fucking
yeah,
70s, or well, since the prequels came out rather.
the
Make them
prequels.
more like the first ones, and now people are complaining that they're similar to the first ones.
Yeah, the prequels came out and were such a far cry. Like,
Mm.
nothing looked or felt the same. Like, it was
Yeah, it
like,
was such a. It was just a mashup of. We wanted to look like Star Wars, but with more lightsabers. But also, George Lucas wants to try and make a political drama, and he has no
oh
idea how to
yeah,
do it.
it was
And it's just.
bizarre. Oh, I have something to recommend. If you've ever, he's got kind of raunchy humor, but that's my thing. I really dig it. Mr.
Yeah.
Plinkett Reviews. Have you ever heard of this guy?
No, I haven't.
I highly, highly, highly recommend his Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3 reviews.
Oh,
So good. They're hilarious. He's hysterical. His commentary is spot on. Like, everything that he brings up issue with the series is spot on. Highly recommended.
well,
But
those are always awesome to listen to.
oh, I love it.
I'll
Well,
check him out, most likely.
he's got a million subscribers and stuff just because of those reviews. But anyway, he does other stuff now, like,
Yeah.
current event type movies and things like that. But
That
those are
seems
definitely
appropriate.
yeah, yeah. Those are his biggest success videos. I like 7. I thought 7 was great. I thought the
Thought it was
throwbacks
wonderful.
were good timed, or like well timed. All the characters had like important roles and things like that. I didn't feel like anything was wasted.
Yeah, me neither. I think everything they added or everything they introduced was there for a reason. It wasn't just like, and I like the fact that they could hint towards being, what do you got, nostalgic little throwback things, but they didn't do it in the way that a lot of these, like Jurassic World and stuff like that, they almost stood in the camera looking at you like, can you believe it? We're making a Jurassic Park movie again.
And I
They
don't
did
know.
it what do you call it? Subtly. I can't pronounce that, but yeah.
Subtlety. But I feel
Subtlety.
like they in Jurassic World, they're like, what was awesome? Well, just like episodes 1, 2, and 3, if you think about it. But anyway, it's like, what was awesome about the old ones? We'll kick that up to 11.
Yeah.
That scene where it's really a small scene, but it stuck with me, and it's just like, this is unnecessary because the first Jurassic Park was kind of a horror movie. Do you remember that? It wasn't.
Yeah, I was too young to understand it, but I do remember it quite
Yeah.
vividly.
It was majestic and stuff, and seeing, brontosauruses and all that walking on the earth and stuff. It was really cool, but there was horror elements. Like Samuel L. Jackson,
Oh,
the tech guy, gets his arm ripped off when he's going to reset the breaker. Do you remember that scene?
oh yeah,
Yeah,
man,
that
it
was
was a long time
horrifying.
ago since I saw it, but it's
It's been
yeah,
a
a lot of
while.
it, and the kids getting trampled in the car, and it's just like, holy shit.
Yeah. So, but then, not episode. I'm almost talking about Star Wars again. Jurassic. What were those called? Lost World, and then what was the third one, or what was the
Oh,
second one?
that's the one I actually owned when I was a kid. Something.
Eh,
Jurassic Park 3. I don't know.
we'll just 2 and 3. We'll get over it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is those got a little more lighthearted actiony, like
Oh,
in
yeah.
2, Ian McCallum or whatever his name is, the doctor, played by Jeff Goldblum. He
Yeah.
is kind of like the character comic relief. He's like, I don't want to be here. This is crazy. We shouldn't be. And he's right. They shouldn't be back on
Yeah.
the island. But
Why
then
is he there a second time? That's the question.
Oh God, you would never get me back on that island. But in that scene where he has a daughter who snuck onto the island with him, and she does gymnastics. And there's a scene where she gymnastics all over the place and kicks a raptor through the wall. Why?
Oh.
Why did they do that? It was so
Have
stupid.
I seen the second one? That sounds amazing in a horrible,
It
shitty way.
was so bad. It was so stupid. And I love those movies, but good lord, I have a limit to what I can, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then let's kick it. Let's go back to Lost World. Or no, I'm sorry. What's the fourth one? What is this new?
There's a
Jurassic
fourth one?
World? Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Jurassic World.
of course, Jurassic World.
You got the the raptors are helping him hunt and stuff, and he's like kicking it on a motorcycle with him, and it was just ridiculous.
It
And
got
then,
very cheesy and very in your
so
face.
quick. And then there's the scene where at the very end the woman is trying to outrun a Tyrannosaurus Rex so that she can lead him to, what's the new dinosaur called, the I-Rex or whatever?
I do not remember,
Oh,
to be
well,
honest.
probably going a little
do
too far
know.
with this, but the point is they just kept going and kept, like, I don't know, pushing my levels of what I'm willing to take.
Yeah,
to
it
the
could have been
point where,
so great, and they turned into just
well, that's
yeah.
what I
Can
love
you
about
believe it? We're
7.
doing it, and then they added some very strange stuff like taming dinosaurs. Uh,
Well, like that whole dynamic, because he was the pack master, they were just gonna
mhm.
completely listen to everything he says. It's like, okay, sure. And
Yeah,
then they had some really good. We got to get off Jurassic Park, but
yeah, that wasn't
in
even a
the
segment.
in the third one, they had the scene where they could communicate to each other, and they were having like vocal
Oh
communications, and
yeah.
he had that stupid little flute. Like, oh
Oh
god,
God.
it was so dumb. It was so bad, and he was like trying to sing to them, like, don't hurt us. And I was like, good lord.
Yeah.
All right, we can stop about Jurassic Park.
Yeah, we could be there for a while otherwise.
It's just there's so much to nitpick. I'm a bad nitpicker. I noticed that. Like, I always
I
have a
mean,
lot to.
it's the more I've started to appreciate movies, the more become a nitpicker and games too. Like the more you invest yourself in something, a work of art or what you want to call it, you're gonna be very picky with it.
Mm.
But I
Oh
think
yeah.
to get back on topic, Star Wars, The Force Awakens, it did all those things, but in the right way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, people when they say it's too much like the first ones, I can see where they're coming from in the sense that the story is very, very almost. You can pinpoint the
Yeah,
story to the first movie.
you can list the similarities like
Yeah,
pretty clear.
exactly, scene by scene almost.
Hmm.
But it wasn't no, I didn't. It wasn't apparent to me until like this third time I saw it, and I was like, oh yeah, this is just a New Hope essentially.
Yeah, I was totally okay with that. For
Yeah,
me,
because it did it
this
well.
was, yeah, it was done extremely well, and then at the same time, this is to get people back into the being excited for Star Wars again. If
Yeah,
they do episode, let's see, 8 and 9, and they're literally carbon copies, then I'm gonna have a lot of issue.
yeah, that
Um,
would be pretty weird.
as of right now, if we've got a good series going. They have my money. I'm more than willing to go see. I saw that movie 3 times in theaters.
Yeah, me
Um,
too. Both
totally,
actually.
every time was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm down for 8. If they do a new
Oh
story,
yeah.
I'm down. Like, all the characters are kind of substantiated. Did you like all the new characters? Like
I like
Finn?
most of them. Finn, I thought the character didn't bother me, but the actor was very loud.
He was
That is
loud.
one of the problems I have because most of he starts off a very pleasant, very quirky character, and then he just turns into mouth wide open screaming things for no
Yeah,
apparent reason.
he was comedy relief. If like,
Yeah, but he wasn't very comical. He was just annoying me.
yeah, well, yeah,
The more I
okay.
saw of him, the more I was like, yeah, okay, we get it.
I feel like we're gonna go on another tangent. Are you
Oh,
familiar
wait.
with Ghostbusters at all? The movie.
Yeah, I think I've seen them, but like as a concept, everybody knows what Ghostbusters is.
Well, as a fan of one of the greatest movies ever, I love Ghostbusters. Like,
Yeah.
the humor in that movie set the tone for decades, and the timing, all the jokes are perfect little, gems. All of them are waiting to be, laughed at. And here's what that's been reduced to. If you've seen the
Oh,
commercial
I've
for
seen
the
it.
new one,
It's so
it's just screaming and, oh, this is like, she sees the ghost, and then the ghost possesses her friend. Get out of my friend! And she slaps her friend across the face, and it's like, really, is this what comedy is? Screaming and hitting, and
why are
like
they
Larry,
rebooting so
Curly,
much
and Moe.
shit and then just have little to zero regard for the original IP? It's just ugh. It's sickening.
For me, why call it? They could have just, if they're gonna make a new movie, don't call it Ghostbusters. Call
Yes,
it something else. Be
that's
proud
the
of what you're doing.
video
Don't.
games, movies, everything. You
Mhm.
don't have to name it that. In Sweden, we had just a few months ago a similar, maybe last year, sometime, a similar scenario. A beloved franchise, Swedish movies, film series that had been finished in the 80s, I think. They picked it back up and they turned it into some sort of weird action comedy, I don't know what, and they replaced beloved, very simple characters with so much weird stuff. And it would have been an okay action comedy and would have been a pretty new and cool thing for a Swedish producer to make. And instead they named it Jönssonligan, which is the name of the movies, and everybody hated it. universe.
Really?
Yeah, it's such a weird decision to go with.
Hmm.
Because it was this family quirky, it's a band of thieves that do hits around Sweden. And it's very, what do you call it? Everyone watching it who grew up with them gets very sentimental and cozy when they see him. And it's not supposed to be a thriller action thing at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very rooting for these thieves and yeah. Hard to describe. I don't
Yeah.
know. But it's such a weird thing to do and they're doing it left and right. And I'm not sure why.
Well, I think it installed fan base. Like, if you have just even the semblance of, something that was very, very heavily regarded in, well, a high regard, people loved and people have a lot of nostalgia for it. You want to just take that name and ring it for every dollar it's worth. And that's what you get with Ghostbusters and shit like that.
Yeah, and it's so weird because if you do it and you do it correctly and respect the original IP and figure out what the current fan base likes about the original work of art, maybe you'll make even more money with a sequel and another sequel instead of
Obviously.
hissing in their mouth once for the premiere tickets and then it's just...
It's so bizarre because if you look at Star Wars 7, that's what they did. They respected and all the original art and things like that and the way
they
things
even
were
had
done.
puppets in there.
Oh, and you know what? I love that. I know everybody loves that, but it's so much better. My mind simply... Whoa. Hold on a second. Hold on. We're going to stop for a second. All right, and we're back. What I was going to say is that I love all the... what do they call it? They have a special name for that where it's like prosthetics and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Costumes. I actually can't think of the word right now, but
either, but
I
it's
prefer
awesome.
that.
Oh yeah, when I saw the first little head there in the sand in the first scene, I turned around and looked at BB-8 as he was...
Oh yeah,
by.
I do know what you're talking about. That
I
little...
just grabbed my friend's hand and was like, "Oh my god!" It's happening.
and start nerding out. I love it.
Yeah.
I feel like it brings a realness to the eye, and that's the beauty of CGI is it can paint beautiful worlds, but you can't do the whole movie in that. You can add wonderful little effects and things like weather and stuff like that, but I know what a tiger looks like. So when I see a fake ass tiger, it doesn't do it for me. It doesn't look real.
It's gonna look like a fake ass tiger.
Yeah, it looks awful. It looks terrible. I can see the colors are off or the shading or whatever. It just or it doesn't behave like a tiger would behave. It's just like, this looks stupid.
I mean, it's like the rule of any form of editing. I'm a professional, I know. No, but less is more to an extent. You can't just...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's like one of my biggest disappointments in the CGI department. Have you heard of a movie called Beowulf? I don't know how well that one did.
Yes, Beowulf, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna see that because I was so excited. It was like Danish, Nordic mythology sort of thing, or story, ancient story.
Yeah.
And I was really excited for it. And then when I started watching, I was like, people look a little bit weird. And so I noticed the whole fucking thing was in CGI, and that did not do it for me at all.
No, even if it's beautiful, because it is beautiful.
Yeah, I just wasn't prepared for it.
It can never do. And I mean, okay. So let's talk about this. It's a small tangent, but do you watch a lot of Pixar or Disney?
I mean,
are you at least familiar?
So much. I watch a lot of Disney, I guess I could say. If you're bored at home with your girlfriend or whatever, you're gonna watch some Disney, essentially.
I'm a huge.
And there's
Disney
a lot of
fan.
Pixar in there.
Not afraid to admit it. I love Disney. I grew up on Disney. Toy Story, big ones like that, and obviously it's stylistic CGI, and that I can get behind all day. I love the way Pixar movies look. I love if you are familiar with WALL-E, what a beautiful movie, so beautiful. But
I mean, all their movies look great because you think it's Pixar, it's gonna look like this, and they know what they're doing.
Well, because this is the point. Sony tries and they try to do CGI movies, and for some reason they're just never well received. And even though they are very lifelike in the sense that the animation's very good and crisp and stuff, I just can't get behind watching fake things. I have no emotional investment in something fake, like a human. Like with Toy Story, like Woody getting hurt or something or left behind is emotionally crippling because you're like, that's sad. He got forgotten in the toy box. Watching some, I don't know, a brute or something get smashed against a wall. Oh, you know what's a great
It just looked like a weird cutscene in a video game that's
Yeah, it
not gonna
looks
be very good.
awful. It looks terrible, and
Yeah.
I don't feel that same empathy towards like a generic character getting smashed. Like here's what
No.
I was gonna go on. Did you watch Batman vs Superman?
No, I haven't yet, and I don't
Uh,
think I will.
don't do it. That movie sucks.
Yeah, there's the reason why.
Don't do it. The movie is terrible. And okay, some of the scenes, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a huge nerd and I like good action scenes. Some of them are good, but the large majority of it is boring, mistimed. Just the story goes a million directions and nowhere at the same time. How is that possible? I don't know. Like, you have a 2.5 hour movie that feels like 7 hours. Oh god.
Yeah.
Anyway,
2.5 hours. Holy shit!
yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. It felt like 10. I swear.
I think that entire movie is kind of aimed to be a failure because I don't know. First of all, they casted that long-haired, annoying guy as Lex Luthor. What that was about.
Jesse Eisenberg. People
I know,
were
maybe he's good in
contentious
it.
about that.
But I mean, it's at least cut his hair off. Why?
Well,
Why is it looking like?
spoiler, he does. He becomes business Lex Luthor by the end of that movie. So
That's good. But still, it's like, why is he so young?
yeah.
Why is
It's an origin story. We needed another origin story because nobody knows who
it doesn't
Lex Luthor
click
is.
for me. We know the origin. People who like Superman know the origin,
Yeah,
and it's like
he's an 80-year-old comic book character. Nobody needs an origin story. It's old.
another one.
So,
It's
yeah.
and then I mean, every movie does this nowadays. To go off on a tangent on the tangent, where it's a teaser. No, it's a reveal. Then there's a teaser. Then there's a teaser, a trailer, trailer.
Yeah, then
And
a trailer.
every cool part of that movie was revealed in the trailers.
No, absolutely. Literally every...
They have a
there's
second of every scene is in the trailer.
There
and then why
is
should
a
I
teaser that shows point for point the entire story. It's about a minute and 30 seconds long, and it shows every key point in that whole movie. And it's like, why did I bother spending 2 hours in the theater? I could have just watched the trailer 10 times.
And then they removed the diamond beard from the bad guy. That was the last straw for me.
Yeah.
I said they keep mixing up his name with other similar names. But is it Doomsday or Apocalypse or...
Doomsday. They...
Spoiler. Just kidding.
Oh, God. Yeah, if anyone...
They did that themselves.
If anyone
spoiling
wants to waste their time in the theaters, I'm sorry to spoil, but that movie is not worth the $10 it took to watch it. Which is sad. It had a lot of high hopes. It had good casting. Everyone likes Ben Affleck as Batman. He did a good job. That guy is Superman. He's not particularly interesting, but he does it good, you know?
Neither is Superman.
Yeah, Superman's kind of boring to begin with.
He's a very generic superhero, and I think the actor looks very generic and
pretty boy.
Behaves very... Yeah, he's very like... Oh. What do you call it? It's like Keanu Reeves style of acting. You can sort of forget that he's there and immerse yourself that way.
Mm-hmm. I actually love Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, me too.
I started off with like everyone else's interpretation because everyone that followed his old career, you know, he was in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
and that painted the picture for his whole career. Unfortunately, he could not drop that whoa, you know, he couldn't drop that.
Yeah.
And he's actually better than that. He's been in a couple good movies. He was in Dracula. Did you ever watch that one?
The new one?
No. The really, really old one. Well...
Oh, no. I didn't know that.
It's called Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's fantastic. It's
Bram Stoker.
He's a minor role. He's not Dracula, but he is the guy that goes to Dracula's castle and kind of does all the memoirs for Dracula.
Butlery thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, he was good in
Isn't Christopher Lee Dracula in that one?
No, the guy that plays him is... Let me think of his name. He was in Batman, Dark Knight, and all that. What is his name? Oh, I kind of want to look it up.
Liam Neeson. I was kidding.
Bram Stoker's Dracula. Oh, come on. Give me the name. This is good podcast material right here. But I can't. Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman.
And yeah. That's true. Holy shit.
Gary
How did I forget about
Oldman is like the king of... they call
everything.
him method actors. And he is the character, man. He does it so good. He
So have you seen True Romance?
yes, I love every
Yeah.
movie he's ever been in.
I've actually not seen the entirety of that, but I have seen over and over the scenes where
Hmm.
he's the
Yeah, he's
white
so good.
Jamaican speaking
He's so good.
drug dealer with dreads and the leather
He does it in
bean
every
beanie thing.
movie. You know, another good method actor. Christian Bale gets a lot of big nods and stuff because he does like really really good body work. Like
Oh yeah,
if the role requires him to be super skinny, like in The
does it?
Machinist, he was like under 100 pounds for that movie. I don't know if you've seen The
Yeah, I've seen
Machinist.
the pictures. I want to see the
Man,
movie, but it's a little too.
it's a little weird. I'm not gonna like.
It seems like one of those movies that will keep me sleepless for a while. Not because it's jump scary in that
It was
way, but it's like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, it's pretty psychedelic. I won't lie,
Oh
and
god, I can't.
not in the good way. Like I'm not gonna give that a glowing review. He was good in it,
Oh,
and for what it's worth, it's okay. But it's not like I would go out of my way to watch that. But the point is that he lost like 100 pounds. He was so big for like the role right before that, and then he lost 100 pounds, and then he put on another whatever, like I want to say close to 100 pounds. But
yeah,
anyway,
of
for
muscle.
Batman and stuff like that, and it's just like this guy
Yeah.
is super dedicated. That's insane.
Yeah, that's really cool. But Gary Oldman, he's like,
The King,
ah,
he's so good.
this guy. Did you know he was in Kung Fu Panda 2?
Oh, I did not know that. Was he a
He was
voice?
the peacock.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
So
So going back to the animation thing, I love the animation of the peacock. I always thought it was cool how he used his feathers as like ninja
oh
stars.
yeah, I love that.
It's super cool, man. I kind of dig that kind of stuff.
I just realized we're on a tangent about a tangent about a tangent
Oh, so
about animation in
on
Star
that
Wars.
note, it's time to talk about Inception. No, I'm just kidding. All right. All right. Well, we can go to the next topic then.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, I'll let you go ahead and dive into Pokken. Pokken? Is that...
Yeah, this is sort of me. I mean, when I saw Pokken as the trailer or people revealing it, like a lot of Smash players showed Pokken on their channels and such, and I was like, holy shit, this is that's being able to play as a Pokemon in a fighting game is the reason that I bought a Wii U and I bought Smash 4. And now they came out with this, and I was like, holy shit. But of course, you can't play it with your Smash controllers, and you can't. No human being alive can play anything with a fucking Wii U gamepad. And then I started looking into, okay, well, what can you buy? And I think you can play it with their, like, I don't know what they call it. They have a very generic Xbox-looking controller that you can purchase.
Oh, the Pro Pad?
I think so, and it works for most games. But they launched with this game the arcade-style controller. So yet another controller to put into your lackluster console. And it's just essentially a Super Nintendo controller. It has 2 buttons and the arrow thingamajig.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's... What are they thinking? Why would anyone... I feel like I bought more hardware for my Wii U than I have for my PC. It's insane.
Yeah, they've
And
been
that kind of pissed
peripheral
me off,
heavy
so...
for a long time, but I've never ever felt shoehorned into it until the Wii and Wii U.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I'm GameCube. That was just not a perfect console by any means, but I didn't run into any issues when I had that as my go-to. But with this fucking thing, I mean, financially it was a pretty stupid decision to buy a whole Wii U just to play Smash. Worth every penny. But the fact that I have to buy an adapter to plug in my GameCube controller to play Smash like it should be played is just insanity. And now that I want to play Pokken, which looks awesome, I have to buy yet another controller, either the Super... What do you call it?
Not familiar.
What was the name of that thingy?
Oh, the Pro Pad?
Yeah, thank you. The Pro Pad or this new arcade piece of crap that's completely useless. I don't know. I'm just sick of them throwing out that... Because you think they'd learn. Because when they released... the only thing that the gamepad, Wii U gamepad, have been useful for, the big-ass iPad-looking thing, is Mario Maker. Mario Maker, yeah.
That game is awesome.
That's the only time when... Yeah, it looks really cool. It's not really up my alley, because I'm not big on the whole... I don't know, the super challenging platformer stuff, and that's essentially what that is. People make really cool, difficult levels. But that's the only time where that iPad-looking piece of crap has been useful, and they keep forcing out...
It's... Okay, so they got really gimmicky. I can get into this
Oh, yeah.
because I am a
That's
huge Nintendo fanboy. I've bought absolutely every console that they've made. There's no exception. So I will say within the last decade, maybe, they've gotten super gimmicky. The 3DS, the new 3DS, the, whatever, Wii U, and then the motion controls, and this and that, and all this stuff. And it's like, what? Can we get back to the games? Can we get back to game functionality and stop with all these, peripherals that I don't want to do? Okay, so VR is on its way. VR is going to be huge.
Yeah. And they thought they were on their way when they released the original Wii.
Absolutely. Well, let's be realistic here. Wii was the best-selling console of its generation. I don't know if you're aware.
It was, and I can never understand why.
I don't understand it. I had 2 games that I played on the Wii, and it was Smash Brothers Brawl and Mario Galaxy, or what was it?
Yeah.
Mario, whatever that is. Regardless, nothing was fun with that stupid ass nunchuck. I hated that.
It's
thing.
useless.
I hated
it. My girlfriend at the time had it, and so we'd throw it out from time to time. And I was like, sure, we can play golf this way, or we could play a good game in any other way.
With a regular controller. I have played Hot Shots Golf.
Imagine if they just went for a basic hardware upgrade, made the GameCube into the game fucking sphere or whatever, and turn it into a good
South Park. I'm sorry, go ahead.
You can roll it around. I mean, that would have been so much cooler instead of having this, and have the virtual reality or whatever you can call it, motion control.
That's coming.
Yeah, but the motion control could have just been a side thing, a little bonus for people who were interested.
I don't want a side thing. I want. Okay, well, all right, we're being sticks in the mud because innovation is bred through creativity, and maybe they are trying their hardest to push the boundaries, and it's just flopping. But
they should establish some sort of ground first, where people can just here's the game, play it like you always have, in a more high quality fashion, and then work on that sort of stuff as additions to the.
That's where PC gaming comes in, though, right? Like you don't get better control than a mouse and keyboard for a large majority of like first-person shooters and things like that. Mm-hmm. However, games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff, I hate driving anything.
Oh God, yes! I've never played GTA with a keyboard and mouse.
So that's the dichotomy. You have to have breakthrough technology that looks fantastic, and then you also have to have gameplay with controls that are functional and appealing. So that's where we're tripping up. Is I don't like that stupid ass Wii U gamepad.
It's awful.
It's awful. I don't like looking at another screen away from the main screen. That's for games where there's no there's no pressing issue. Like I'm trying to think of a game. Like imagine maybe like StarCraft or something where you're controlling 200 units and stuff like that. You don't have time to look away and like mess with an interface on a little keyboard or something. That's stupid. You want stuff to be accurate and fast paced. As you want no input delay. So until they figure that out, stop giving me little TV screens on my controller. I don't need that.
Oh yeah. I could never. When I bought my Wii U, the guy at the store was very clear on, if you break this controller, you're gonna have to buy a whole new console. And I was like, okay, but what if I want to play with my friends? Well, then you better hope your friend has a Wii U, because then you can play together using each other's. And it's like, what? It's genius in terms of a marketing standpoint, because I mean, if a kid breaks his Wii U and loves his Wii U, they're gonna buy him a whole new thing. And that whole thing left a sour taste in my mouth, or whatever, a bad taste in my mouth when I left the store. But I was like, I want to play Smash. It looks awesome.
I have a Wii U, and I do play it. I have, let's see, I can name my whole catalog: Bayonetta, Bayonetta 2, the HD remake for Zelda Wind Waker, Smash Brothers, and Mario Kart. That's it. Those are the games I've got. And those are the
I've got
ones
Smash
I don't play
Brothers.
Any of them.
And I have Mario Kart because it came with a fucking console. And I gotta say, that Mario Kart is just shit.
What? You're crazy.
No, it's not fun. It's just overloaded, and I don't know what anything does. You can change your tires, you can change your car and everything, but it doesn't say anywhere why I'm doing it.
Different things for different levels. This is for people that are competitive, which it's Mario Kart, why be competitive? But
yeah, exactly.
You can shave off seconds with the right setup, right? And so for someone that cares, maybe it matters. To me and you, no one gives a shit.
No, it doesn't really. But I mean, and then again, I only have the option to play with a gamepad once more, so that is a huge part of it.
The
But I just
gamepad does have like it has glowing moments, right? Just moments of brilliance. So like for I will say for one thing on the HD remake for Zelda Wind Waker, you can just look down and just tap the screen. Like if you want to equip boots or something like that, you just tap it. Boom, equipped. And so
yeah, that's something, I
it's
guess.
something because I don't know if you're familiar. You used to have to like in the 64 version, you have to push start and then scroll over to the item and then double
Yeah,
click it
like
or
in
whatever.
every.
And it had a loading sequence and stuff. And so it was a bit. So I mean, we're talking 15 seconds of time being saved, and that's
Yeah,
about as that's
but I was in the on the 64, and I mean,
yeah. It was a long time ago.
loading times for a menu now doesn't exist or shouldn't. I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo games still had it.
Depending,
But
yeah.
yeah, so that's a nice little, what do
It's
you call it?
it was a quality of
Feature.
life thing.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly, but it's not a necessity by any
no,
means.
it didn't
And it
enhance
does it can never
gameplay.
justify this bulky thing that's almost bigger than the console itself.
Well, like, do you have any of the Game Boy Advance or any of those
No,
Nintendo
I gave up
3DS?
after the Game Boy Advance SP, I think it was called.
Yeah. Oh, I
The
have that.
fold up one.
I have that. Yep.
Yeah, I had it and then it got stolen by
Oh
a
no.
Dominican maid. And I gave up on Game Boy
Oh
by that
no.
point.
You gotta play
Yeah.
Pokemon, dude.
She left all my Pokemon games for some reason. I didn't really.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. You gotta play the new Pokemons.
That was just
They're doing
salting,
another one.
just salting the wounds because I loved Pokemon. That was all I played. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just took the Game Boy and
I have
then,
a story.
well, he.
My Xbox 360 got stolen way back when they first came out. Someone kicked in the door, and then
The
they
fuck?
came into my bedroom, and they must have known. It must have been like I don't know about like a family member or something. It must have been someone I knew. Anyway, they went.
Family member.
I mean, I
holy
don't
shit.
know because it seems odd that someone would break into a house, go directly
Visiting
to
your
one
cousin. Where'd you
room.
get that? No.
Yeah. They took the Xbox 360, and here's what's funny. They unplugged all the components and stuff and left the controller and all this stuff, and then they also removed a PSP that I had at the time. They took it off the console and set it to the side and left it. And it's like, how do you not stuff that in your pocket? You know what I mean?
That's a very odd. They have those Call of Duty boys. They're determined.
Oh, God. Well, this was like the first 2 months after the console was released or so. And then, so I think I don't know. I mean, I've never robbed anyone, so I don't know what your mind is racing and stuff. So he must have been, not thinking clearly because he pretty nicely threw my PSP to the side, which was, I don't know, at the time about $200, $300.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, if you're robbing,
yeah,
fucking go nuts.
it's slash and grab, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you could grab a whole, was it an Xbox or a PS3? Sorry.
Xbox 360.
Yeah, if you can unplug that thing and take it, there's not a noise issue that would cause you to leave the PSP behind.
Well, like he left all the games, he left the controller, he left literally all the plugins. So I'm imagining he had enough. This was early on, right? I don't know if you're familiar. Like in the United States, the 360 sold pretty well, and they weren't exactly easy to obtain. And there's no, it wasn't. This was way before like thrift shops and stuff like that had extra cables and stuff. Because now I can go to Disc Replay and get any charge cable, any cable I want.
Oh yeah, but spare parts for that back then was kind
No,
of a.
didn't exist. So he
And
he
what
had
did
a
it leave
nice
behind?
he had a nice
Left
paperweight,
the controllers and the.
games, everything.
The fuck?
I don't know, just a weird story, but I totally remember thinking it's like, so the PSP is that worthless? Like they hated that system that much?
That was what you could take from that
Yeah.
experience. Like, oh, well, this was a bad investment.
Now I know why I don't play it. No, So,
Yeah.
but
Holy shit.
I don't know, just the common theme is like I get these consoles and I do buy everyone. I have a Xbox One, a PS4, and the Wii U. Don't
shit.
play any of them. I play PC almost exclusively.
Yeah. I kind of signed myself off from consoles when I bought my first gaming PC.
Well, I'm waiting. Wii U is getting Star Fox later this month. I'll be playing that. I hope
yeah.
it's good. And then of
Well,
course,
that's a lot of pressure.
it's no pressure.
Being
I
as
don't
it
mind.
is.
If it's in the same vein as Star Fox 64, if it's just remotely similar, and they're not going crazy with the gamepad, I'll play it and I'll love it and it'll be great. If they try to do some crazy nonsense, then we'll have issue. But
Yeah.
my expectations are not super high. That game was like 10, 15 years ago, man. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I meant. And people haven't seen anything that they wanted to see from that series since. My first experience with Star Fox, and only experience now that I think about it, apart from Smash, was the horrible fucking Dinosaur Planet one.
What? You don't like Dinosaur? What was that called? Star Fox? What was that called?
Star Fox Adventures, where
Oh
the
yeah, and it had that
oh
stupid salesman. You know, he
yeah
was trying to get your scarabs.
oh yeah, what's the line? You don't have enough scarabs. It was very. It wasn't you don't have enough scarabs. It was you don't have enough scarabs.
He
It was
would yell it
very
at you. He's angry.
articulate.
That game
I
was
never
awesome.
understood what
It
the hell I
was
was
so
supposed to do with
bad,
that.
but I love that game. That was a
The
game
thing is,
no
I
one
wanted
asked
to
for.
love it because back then I had very low requirements. I was like, holy shit, this fucking staff fighting looks awesome. And I didn't know what Star Fox was, so I couldn't be disappointed in any
Yeah,
way.
everyone was disappointed.
Yeah, but I was like, what? And then the fucking dinosaur started following me around, and then I just gave up.
Trixie.
It was a pain in the
It
ass.
was bad. It
Feed
was
me
bad.
mushrooms. I'm stuffed. Well, why are you asking me for mushrooms, you piece of shit?
That was like it was following the success of like Donkey Kong 64, Mario 64, Banjo Kazooie. Do you remember those?
Yeah, those were
Yeah.
legendary.
Those
Never
are
played them, but
legendary, and they were a lot of
Window.
fetch quests and collectathons, and it tried to do the same thing, and nobody
Yeah, but the thing
wanted
is,
it.
that game wasn't even gonna be Star Fox. It was being developed as Dinosaur Planet. And
Ah.
then,
Oh, so they just threw Star Fox on there?
yeah, Nintendo got involved and they were like, hey, put this here, it'll be better. And so they did, and now we have that blue cat fox lady and fox running around with a Triceratops.
How funny. I didn't know that.
Such a weird decision.
Well, I mean, it must have been to save face. They must have put a lot of money into whatever, Dinosaur Planet, and saw...
I don't even think it was their studio to begin with that was
Oh,
working
so they
on
just
it.
bought it up? Man, that is bizarre.
It's a very bizarre thing. I think Jontron covered it, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
That's
I
where
love
I saw it.
John. I love
Oh, he's awesome. I actually just recently got into watching him because he's one of those things you know about him, like subconsciously because it's everywhere. But I actually started watching him now, and he's just amazing.
Yeah, I think he's funny. I think his videos are very clever. I like what he
Yeah.
teaches in the videos and stuff like that.
It's high quality. It's entertaining. He's like so multi-talented. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, he's great.
I could marry that man right now.
He used to do, speaking of high quality, he used to do Game Grumps. Do you know who that is? Yeah. I
Yeah,
would
I've,
consider that to be low quality. They just play a
Yeah,
game
that's that's at my level of quality
and... No.
in terms of content.
They just...
Yeah, but definitely is. You sit down, play, and chat.
yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Like...
Yeah.
It's to that same vein, but they don't even take the time to get good at the games. You know what I mean? Like they
No,
just
they just personality driven.
hmm
And I mean, started watching them because I got starved on Yantron content because he doesn't make a whole lot. He has made a lot in the past, but it's not very frequent because he makes high quality stuff.
yeah.
So I kind of went into the old Yantron Game Grumps videos, and I mean they're fun and they have great chemistry. The guys playing, but it's just it's a let's play video with two guys instead of one, and there's a little orange bubbly border, and that's about as far as it goes in terms of editing.
Yeah. Well, they've got it
Yeah.
down to, it's a fine old machine now. Now they pump that stuff out like 6 episodes a week and
They're a
stuff.
brand.
Yeah.
They are.
And it gets millions of views, so they're doing something right.
Oh yeah, and everyone involved is very talented, which is very interesting to me. It was started by Yantron, if I'm not mistaken, and Ego Raptor,
Yes.
and both of those guys are really talented. Ego Raptor with the music stuff, and Yantron with the being Yantron stuff. And then Ninja Sex Party is involved now, and those guys are also really interesting, most of all, but very talented. I mean, they put down so much hard work in their own individual stuff, and then Game Grumps is just so very bare bones. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
How did we get on this? We were talking about something.
Yeah, we've been talking about Nintendo for the last 20 minutes, I think.
Oh yeah, we were talking about Star Fox and the yeah. Okay, I'm back. I know where we are.
All right, so we'll probably end up or wrapping up soon. I wanted to cover a new video I just did real quick. I kind of want to go in depth, but I guess we can just talk about it real quick. So I just released a new video today, and it's about human versus human combat in Nosgoth. Something that when I first heard, I was like, no, you have to have vampires, you gotta have combat, you know what I mean? Like, that's what the game is made upon. But then I started thinking about it, and you know what? I kind of like human versus human combat.
It's a really cool idea.
It's a cool idea. You know, I've played a lot of Call of Duties, a lot of Battlefields, a lot of Battlefronts, a lot of, you know, all this stuff. I don't like the gunplay. I love the gunplay in human combat in Nosgoth. It's fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
The spells, the bolas, hell, I'd use the whip.
Really cool. It's very interactive shooting.
I love the recoil and reloading and stuff like that. So then I got the idea, you know, what would it look like? You know, and so then I started fooling around in the old Nosgoth editor, and I made a video, and this is what it looks like. So I like the way it turned out. It kind of is beautiful. A little bit sad because I almost have the sense that Nosgoth is dying because zero developer support. But I went ahead and made this to kind of test the environment of what it would be like, and I kind of like where the way it went. And also, I want to say this: the game, in my opinion, has suffered to no end because they have no objective. The main objective is just kill your opponent. Yeah, team deathmatch, and you just kill your opponent.
They had the capture the corpse thing for a while, but it was kind of wonky.
Nobody cares. It was so poorly implemented when it first came out that people immediately tried it and was like, oh, this is a joke. Like, this is literally a joke mode.
When I read it, I was like, because my friends are always very hyped for those sort of things. I'm very... Like, when I play League of Legends, I never want to play the new gimmicky game modes that they release from time to time.
Oh, you don't even try
the same. No, I tried a few. I tried Earth because it was cool. But in Nosgoth, they were also like, hey, let's check this out. And I was like, no.
No.
I'm not going to do that. No, this is going to turn out, and I don't want to be a part of it.
Did you do Flashpoint at all? I kind of like Flashpoint.
Oh, I think I missed that one completely. What was that?
It's just, it's not capture. It's like King of the Hill, kind of. King of the Hill.
Oh, that sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's not, they never, okay, so here's the thing. So with Nosgoth, you know, they just throw stuff out, and they don't test it a whole lot, and then they don't update it either. So, like, the groundwork was interesting. You know, you stand by the objective and catch it or whatever, and that kind of introduced new mechanics, like people actually went throughout the level to do things as opposed to just holding in one side.
Yeah.
And that made it interesting and fun, but it never got balanced or, you know what I mean?
Why did they focus on that one? Actually, they never develop on anything, but I mean, sort of
that's the
go the other way on most things. But that would have been really cool, because it's a great way to practice the team play also, because a lot of people seem to, we covered this last time, not a whole lot of people naturally reach the conclusion that you should be covering each other's backs. And if you have that thing going, you pretty much have to.
Well, it'd be interesting to see. Okay, so here's the thing. In regular team deathmatch, vampires can be extremely overbearing to new players that can't aim and don't know how to use spells correctly. It's very clear cut that the vampires will win. So I was thinking with a human versus human game mode, which will probably never see the light of day.
The game will probably
the game will probably die. You can effectively learn, like, there's no overbearing warlord, right? There's just two sets of humans, and you get to learn those characters in a safer environment.
That's brilliant.
In the same sense, you get to explore the maps because there's objectives like capture the flag, and you are rewarded from running from one side to the other, which is illustrated in the video. Lots of team play and calling out and stuff like that, where people's locations and where they're hiding and camping and stuff like that. I just thought that it would lend itself to teaching the fundamentals of Nosgoth better than what
and give it some much needed variety, I guess.
Oh God, right? I mean, I do love me some team deathmatch, but a year and a half.
You need something. Yeah, you need to mix it up.
For sure.
The same issue most popular games have, and Nosgoth is not a popular game, so.
Even games really like Counter-Strike, which have millions of followers, they don't just have what is that main game mode? I'm sorry, just I guess it's just Counter-Strike, right?
No, it is something, but I don't know. That is the one with the bomb, of course.
Yeah, the bomb one, right? So, but if you don't feel like it, just jump on and play some TDM, play some whatever they got.
There's like a million game modes, and then there are fan-created game modes. It's just you can't have a boring time if you're into that game.
Yeah, if that's the problem. If you're into the game, and I never could get into it, but I appreciate what they've done with it.
I've tried.
And
that's a game where I don't appreciate the gunplay at all.
at all. I couldn't get into it. I tried I tried to learn the recoil of the AK-47 for like the 2
Yeah.
hours that I did play, and I was
It's
just
an
like,
opposite 7.
yeah,
Shut up.
couldn't take it. Couldn't take it.
No, my friends are all like old school CS:GO. One of my closest friends, he has played the game. He's played it his entire life. His entire gaming career has been has had CS:GO or Counter Strike rather as
Oh
the base.
wow, his whole wow.
Oh yeah, ever since we were like, I think when we were 7, 8, 9, I don't know. His big sister's boyfriend played it, and he showed it to me. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, and he's been playing ever since. So he's in there. It'd kill me if I didn't say this. He's actually global elite, so he's pretty
Legit.
decent at the game. Yeah. So of course I try to join in the fun because a lot of the people I play with play Counter Strike, but it's an awful experience.
I don't like it, man. We're gonna get so much hate for this because I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
think
this
you're
is
allowed to
suicide.
talk bad about CS:GO, man. That's a death
It's
sentence.
obviously a great shooter, but I mean it's not a good shooting simulator to me, but it's a good game.
Well,
Because I mean, if I point towards my target, if they're far away, maybe I should aim a little bit higher, but I shouldn't have to like my what do you call it? Go-to reaction when shooting shouldn't be okay. Now you drag it to your feet and you should hit him in the stomach. It's like, stop
well,
it.
I'm sorry to call you out, Mr. Burgundy. You have to do that with the hunter on Nosgoth. You
Yeah,
need to
yeah,
drag
of
your
course. I mean,
controller
it's
down.
recoil, and it goes upwards when you spray with the hunter. But in CS:GO, it's just well, this
It is
one
its
you
own
have to make
beast.
an octagon, and this one you have to make over 7, and this one you have to solve fucking calculus. It's just too much for me to get into.
The
I'm
spray
sorry.
patterns are, and what's funny is that's the thing. I think once you make that break, or I'm sorry, break that barrier to entry and learn the spray patterns, then you become god status of Counter Strike. It's just
Yes,
learning.
then you can start playing it like another shooter and start focusing on the positioning and
Mhm.
calling and all that jazz and decision making. Which I guess is the same thing for Nosgoth. Once you get past the confusing bits and the fact that you realize that vampires aren't the overpowered side, then you can get into the game.
But then you get into this other dilemma. So, we got to wrap up soon, but real quick, whenever you do get really, really good at human side, and then you get teammates that are also really good, then it just becomes this boring, okay, well, I'll do vampire and we hope we do as well as we can, but let's just play this so that we can get back to human side. And it's like, well, that's not fun. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
that's
peak levels. If you watch ESL,
yeah,
they're so damn good at the human side, and mind
yeah,
you, there are some people that pull some sick shit as vampires, but the majority of the time, games are decided by the better human side.
yeah. That's what I'm kind of afraid of. If I, against all odds, become good at this game, like high level, good at Nosgoth before it dies,
Before it dies.
um, I don't want to be there because I love the vampire side. That's my favorite part about the game.
I do too.
And I don't want them to be this just okay, let's scrap for some points here. We're gonna die most likely, and then we pick it up when we're human again.
Mm-hmm.
Because human, I like them, but I mean the vampires are the coolest by far. You can fucking
Absolutely.
fly and jump and yeah.
I 100% agree. I never made that video with the intention of getting rid of vampires. That would be awful.
No. It should be a
would-
game mode, not a
It
game.
should be a game
reset.
mode, and it should only be, the subsection of Nosgoth. However, I think it would still be paramount in teaching, and it would also be helpful for
Oh, yeah.
retention. Because whenever you're tired of playing ranked solo queue, and those people just keep kicking your ass, you can jump on and have some fun. That's the idea.
Yeah, exactly. It should be a casual, fun time where you learn how to shoot, essentially.
Yeah, because the environment is pretty hostile when you're trying
yeah.
to learn how to shoot as a hunter or an alchemist. And
Yeah,
you
that
got
took me
4
quite a while to
sentinels
get into.
kicking your ass.
hmm Yeah, it's a great idea. And the video, I should say, is pretty fucking awesome as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, just pretty. No, just kidding. It's awesome. Look forward to it. When are you planning on putting that out there?
Oh, it's uploaded now.
Oh,
I don't know exactly like when I can discuss because we'll probably cover it on the next episode because I
yeah,
hope
that's
to
probably
get
appropriate.
feedback, but we'll have to wait. I just kind of
Yeah.
uploaded it because I made some small revisions from the time that you saw it, so
hmm
All right.
Okay, I look forward to it. I'm going to check it out as soon as I can. Should point out the music in the video is from a Swedish singer because Sweden is the greatest country on the face of the earth.
Yeah, I
Just kidding.
love that. So if you don't know, the only reason I know that song and that singer is because of Gran Turismo 2. Have you ever played that game?
No, I'm not into the
What?
racing game.
Oh, come
No,
on,
no.
Burgundy. What do you do?
I play good games,
No.
fun things.
What?
No, but I mean,
I won't have
I
you
could never
slander
pay
Gran
for
Turismo.
something that is just cars, unless it's Mario Kart, of course.
That was PlayStation 1 and 2, man. That was, oh man, I love those games.
I played Tarzan on the PlayStation once.
Tarzan's? Ah, good games, huh?
That game was awesome. I could play it now. But yeah, Gran Turismo, they're very highly respected. I guess it was part of the soundtrack.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. The song. Yeah. Well, okay. So the soundtrack for Gran Turismo 2 was legendary, but that was my favorite song on that game, and it just
That's
happened
so
to coincide with how I feel Nosgoth is doing right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was very. I can't say subtle, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Really,
I felt
it was
like it
nice.
was on the
It was a
nose.
nice-
I felt
Yeah,
like
very
it was
much.
like in your face, like is
on the
this
nose
a little
and on
heavy-handed?
It was really good job. Pat on the back.
Oh, thank you. All right. You go ahead and link your channel and stuff if you have that. Or
Yeah, I could go ahead. Check out Burgundy on YouTube. If you try to check me out, just buy Burgundy, then you're gonna find Ron Burgundy clips and makeup tutorials. But if you type maybe Burgundy, League of Legends, Burgundy, Overwatch, Casual Burgundy, you're gonna find me. I do Game Grump level quality of video games.
Oh, I don't agree. I like your videos. I like your commentary and insight to different things. That's kind of why I was like, whenever you started posting on Reddit and stuff, I responded to your videos because it's like, oh, this is great. This is exactly what I would like to see
Yeah, I
is the new experience or a new player getting experience in the game in real time. You know, that was
Yeah.
fantastic to watch you
I think
grow.
you were one of the first to, or the only one to understand my concept behind that. Because a new tangent, a short one, there was a guy who commented while I still posted on the Nosgoth Reddit. It was like, I can't watch this shit because you name it episode 1, etc., etc., etc. And that was his whole reason for it. And I was like, well, it's just a timestamp. What the fuck?
So he was negative about the name of the series?
Yeah, and the concept that it's like me starting off as a complete noob and to where I am now, a
That's the
complete
premise
noob.
of the...
Exactly, that's the whole series. And he was like, why would you name it that? That's so fucking stupid. Maybe you could make a montage instead. And I was like,
Huh.
did you miss something?
Yeah, that's, I don't know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. But
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciated it, I like it, and I do recommend it. If you haven't checked out Burgundy, please do so.
Oh, stop it, you.
That's it for us, guys. I'll see you in the next one. See you later,
Yeah,
Burgundy.
have a good one.